The morning arrived without incident. I awoke to the sounds of activity in the apartment and the gentle rays of sunlight streaming in through the curtains. I got out of bed, slid the door open, and finally remembered that I'd spent the night at Hisamatsu-san's place. Good morning, yeah. In stark contrast to my sleepy haze, Hisamatsu-san was briskly preparing breakfast. Per his request, I took a seat at the table and he set up a cup of coffee down in front of me. He was practically waiting on me, hand and foot. Is this a compliment? Hisamatsu-san set a plate of toast down in front of me and laughed. Oh, wow. Guys, just, I would say get a room, but you're already practically living together. Oh god. I can't believe I'm even joking about that. Thankfully, Hisamatsu-san had walked into the study, so he might not have heard me. I yawned and took a sip of coffee. Just then, my cell phone rang. I dug it out of my purse. It was Shoko. I picked up instantly. Unfortunately, Hisamatsu-san called out to me right at that moment. I quickly gestured at him to hold on. One-chan? I still don't like my sister. I get the feeling that she's hiding something. I don't know. She's not doing us right. She didn't need to know exactly where I was. Definitely. Besides, it wasn't technically a lie. Yeah, why are you calling us up suddenly? I knew she'd see through it, but I had to try. She rattled off a phone number and I saved it in my address book. Busted at the finish line. I could deny it until I was blue in the face, but there was no telling whether she'd actually believe it. After we hung up, I stared down at my phone for a moment. So he just listened into that? Okay. The hesitation in his voice brought me back to my senses. School? Oh, his school, I guess, okay. Maybe it was a silly question at this point, considering I'd already spent the night here once, but he was still essentially an acquaintance at best. Do you really want to leave, Kai? Nevertheless, Hisamatsu-san continued to pick up. I would be, definitely. He sounded rather matter-of-fact about it, but to me it sounded more than a little flippant. With that, he waved goodbye and walked out the door, leaving me with my lingering reservations. The sound of the lock seemed to echo in my ears. There wasn't much left for me to do once I ate breakfast and washed my dishes. I returned to the living room, impressed that his kitchen was so well kept for a young bachelor. So it's been a while since I last played this game, since I wasn't sure whether I would upload it or not, even though I already recorded about an hour of this, and apparently it's only 2 hours long or something, so I thought I might as well finish it. I think there's only one other person that uploaded this to YouTube, which could be because the developer asked people on Steam shortly after the release not to stream it or upload anything, but it's been 2 months now, so if you're the developer and you're listening to me rambling now, your game is great. I'd love to put it on the radar of some more people. This is why I'm doing this now. I had a few options. My time was likely best spent getting in contact with this Uchiyama person Shoko told me about. I got a pad of paper and a pen ready, pulled up the freshly created address book entry and hit the call button. After a few rings, a muffled masculine voice answered.
Hi, Uchiyama desu.
I wasn't sure how to introduce myself, but he seemed to understand right away.
内山さんがこの辺りの住宅関係の話に詳しいと聞いたもので。
So, what revelation will he bring?
訳あり物件に住み込むバイトなんかもよくやってます。
I camp out in problematic houses as something of a side job. Jesus.
訳あり物件に住み込むバイト?
Problematic? Toxic? Entitled? Gamers! According to Ichiyama-san, as long as there was someone living in a given property, the landlord would be spared having to explain anything to a new tenant. Okay. That said, very few people were interested in seeking out so-called problematic apartments to live in. So in exchange for a temporary tenant, these properties owners would let him write articles about their problematic spaces. Evidently, that was how Misty Publishing got material for its magazine.
それでどの物件です？
MC 前原のシャトレ・ロマーヌなんですけど。
あれだ。202
Oh
号室
fuck,
の
he
ネタ。
knows about it. Jesus!
ご存知なんですか?
Of all the places I expected this phone call to go, I never anticipated he'd name drop that one. Desperate hope burgeoned in my chest as I waited his answer. Oh yeah, this one's fucked, definitely. Nothing you can do about it. If you live there, just fucking get out.
業界では密かに有名ですよ。住んでた大学生が山の中で自殺したあの部屋でしょう。
Thank God, what's his name? Isn't listening in on this conversation if he just heard this dude talking about his sister like that.
そうです。
What kind of business did he mean exactly? I kept that little comment to myself, however.
あそこはガードが硬くてね。
Hard to get in there?
その大学生の部屋は開かずの間になってるらしいし、その上下左右も入居審査が厳しくて住めないんです。
Oh!
どうやら何か起こるらしいって噂は聞いてるんですけどね。
Wait, they do a lot of digging into whoever wants to get there, but they didn't find out that what's his face? Seriously, I can't remember his name. Was her brother?
上下もですか?
Even the ones above and below it.
今は誰も住んでないみたいですが。
Oh right, yeah, the couple, right,
その
with the
間
kid.
203の中を見せてもらうって手はずになってたんですけどね。その段取りをしたライターとは連絡が取れなくなっちまって。
Nani? So Takahashi-san had been meaning to sell a spare key to Misty Publishing of all places. Small world.
そんなわけで、あの物件に関してはお役に立てるような、立てないようなというところですか。
But maybe I have information for you. なるほど。
で、何をお聞きになりたかったんですか?
Jumping to conclusions much? Shouldn't you ask that before you decide whether you can help me? I took a deep breath and put a lid on my sarcastic retorts.
その202で何があったか知りたかったんです。
好奇心でお聞きしますけど、何かあなた自身と関係が?
Well, I'm currently right. Where are we? Are we below or above 202? Or somewhat diagonal to it, I think.
201に住んでるんです。
ぜひ取材させてください。
Suddenly he's interested, okay? Saw that one coming.
201では
手を見ました。
Oh.
手? どんな手ですか? いつ? どんな風に?
This is why everyone hates reporter types, I thought to myself. I wasn't a big fan myself. But for now, I needed to be patient.
待ってください。お話ししますけど、その前に202の情報を何かもらえませんか?
Yeah, let's do a little exchange of information about this.
202の情報ですか。前にそのアパートの管理会社の社長が自殺したのはご存知ですか?
Oh, that's old news.
はい。奥さんが入院してることも知ってます。
どうもそのアパート、社長が女を囲ってたらしいって噂はあるんですよ。
That's new?
202にですか?
女子大生は違いますよ。でも部屋番号まではちょっと。
Uh-huh.
女子大生が自殺した日、その近辺で社長の車は目撃されてるんです。アリバイはあったらしいんですけど。
どこですか?
It's getting weirder now.
大家の家です。その社長と大家はどうやら親戚関係にあったらしいですね。
Of course she's in on this. I had her you know, in my sights before. I think she's really fucking suspicious, because why would you rent out an apartment clearly everyone knows is haunted? You learn something new every day, I thought to myself.
あとは社長が入れ上げてたらしいホステスもその半年くらい前に姿を消してるんです。
Okay.
ですがこれはフィリピンに帰ったんじゃないかって噂
The
ですね。
Philippines. I wasn't sure how much of his word I could trust. Yeah, still, yeah, I think we should take it with a grain of salt. Still, I appreciate the new leads regardless. I asked him for the name of the bar the missing hostess had previously worked at, and gave him the rundown of all that had happened to me since I moved in. As I spoke, Uchiyama-san grew more and more excited.
なんとか取材できないですかね。
Oh, be my guest.
私に言われても
I wasn't exactly protective of the apartment by any means, but I didn't feel comfortable letting strangers in there either. Why? They could fucking film this thing and bust the lid on this. And you would be freely able to move out afterwards if, like, everyone else really knows about it. Not just like they do now, but publicly. For now, we ended the call with a mutual agreement to get in touch if either of us discovered any new information. My leads were few, but at least I had something. After that, I decided to return Hisamatsu-san's, that's his name, kindness by tidying up his apartment while I waited for him to arrive. Oh, what will we find? His magazines? Maybe a few DVDs? Maybe we accidentally look for his poem folder on his laptop? Oh, no, okay. Sure enough, Hisamatsu-san returned to the apartment around noon.
見た通り。
よかった。この部屋が大丈夫なことは十分知ってますけど、やっぱりちょっと心配で。
Maybe you need to unclench, I thought. And yet at the same time, I appreciated his concern.
じゃあ、結城さん、部屋に戻ります。
I think you're far more clenched than he is. I would have a pretty tight anus if I was in her situation. Oh. Plus, I still had some work to do. I needed to hurry up and finish the site update for Shuko's company.
玄関先まで付き合いましょうか。
Hisamatsu-san sounded a bit shy. After a moment of consideration, I nodded. Why don't we just, like, take him in as well? If we're two, the ghost can't as easily kill us. Can a ghost even kill someone, or can he just drive you mad? I wanted to believe I'd be fine during daylight hours. But as it turned out, my fear had taken up permanent residence here. I knew there was no point in putting on a tough act for Hisamatsu-san. Admittedly, it was a little silly to think of how much courage it took to walk down a single flight of stairs. Yet there I was, standing before the door to 201, like I was about to head into the belly of the beast. Behind me, I could hear the tension in his voice. I slid the key into the lock and turned it, unlocking the door with a metallic click. I opened the door to find my apartment waiting for me, shrouded in dim tranquility. The beige curtains didn't seem to have much of an effect on this place. That's what I wanted to read. Fuck me. Why did it feel so stuffy in here? Was it just because the windows were shut, or was it something else? I flung the door open and stepped inside. Just then, I felt something touch my shoulder. It's Hisamatsu's. Okay. Yeah, okay. Fuck me. That would have been scary. I was so startled. I startled Hisamatsu-san in turn. I'd forgotten he was there. Why doesn't he stay for a bit? It was clear that, as a man, he felt bad potentially intruding on my space. But I shook my head. Oh, that's an invitation if I ever saw one. Yeah. Oh, he said something about his heart pounding. I definitely heard that one. Doki Doki is always pounding hard. I shot him a glare and he raised his hands in defeat. Was he joking or not? It was hard to tell sometimes. I took my shoes off and walked inside. On my way to the living room, however, I stepped in something cold. Why would you turn on the light first thing in a creepy apartment? At my request, the hallway light flicked on. I looked down at the floor to find that I'd inadvertently stepped in a puddle of water. On the left side of the hallway was the bathroom, tub and toilet separated. On the right was a small room that I'd designated my office space. Last night I'd been in such a flurry that I'd probably dripped water all over the place, or someone turned on the tap. And yet, something fell off. I started to crouch down to get a better look, then stopped. The puddle stretched from the bathroom to the office. But I never went into the office last night.
Yuki-san, 大丈夫ですか?
Frozen in place, I felt myself start to tremble. Just then, Hisamatsu-san gently touched my hand, concerned.
一体何が?
久松さん、ちょっとお願いがあるんですけど。
Please take a look in the office.
何でしょう?
この右のドア、応接室なんですけど。
It's a little bit underhanded
もらえませんか?
of her not to tell him why she's suspicious of what is happening right now. She is potentially throwing him into danger, you know?
わかりました.
Hisamatsu-san slipped past me in the narrow hall. Then he paused for a moment. Evidently he'd stepped in the puddle too. He quickly checked the sole of his foot, then pushed open the door to the office. I heard the flick of the light switch. Then he fell still.
何かありました?
Hisamatsu-san grimaced. Whatever he was looking at, he seemed to have trouble putting it into words. Oh my god, what are we?
そうですね.
Oh, don't take this out of context.
濡れてます.
床が
No, everything.
そうですね.
Okay,
なんというか、
just the floor then.
モップで拭いたような感じで。
Reminds me that I need to clean up.
モップで
Like IRL. With a mop. I peered into the room behind him. The office was about the size of a standard bedroom, furnished with a sofa set and a few bookcases. Between the sofa and bookcases were two long streaks of water stretching from the far wall to the door, almost as though something had been dragged along the floor. Nani? That's another one for the Nani count. As I began to tremble all over again, Hisamatsu-san rushed into the bathroom, then returned with a towel. He tossed it to the floor and began to wipe up the water. It wasn't surprising he knew his way around, considering the layout of my apartment was identical to his. Once the water was all wiped up, he went and turned on the lights in the living room, all before I could even get a word in. Then he strode over to the windows and flung open the curtains. All at once, the apartment brightened up.
とりあえず顔でも洗って落ち着いてください。俺応接室にいますから。
So is he gonna look for signs or something? Or maybe a few hints? A few leads? To think I felt so unsafe in my own home. I splashed some water on my face, brushed my teeth, then headed to the bedroom to change clothes. I already had half a mind to leave and go somewhere else. I couldn't bear to stay here any longer, not even for just an hour. I pulled some clothes from the drawer and tossed them on the bed, and as I started to get changed, it occurred to me. This was only my third day living here, and I hadn't slept in my own bed even once. The first night I slept on the sofa, and last night I slept in someone else's apartment upstairs. Would I ever be able to live here in peace? Fuck no, there's a ghost in here! As I pulled my pants on, my gaze wandered over the walls, and settled on a single point. Another Nani? After everything I'd seen in Takahashi-san's apartment, after everything Hisamatsu-san told me, somehow, the stain on the wall just didn't seem right.
ただのシミよね。シミ。
Just a stain. Did I actually believe that? Or did I just want to believe that? Suppressing the icy terror that threatened to rear its head once more, I slid my arms through the sleeves of my jersey knit top. But just then, as if waiting for the exact moment, I turned my attention away from the wall. Bam! Bam! It was almost as though someone was trying to make their presence known. Another bam. I'm right here. Bam!
Yuki-san!
Hisamatsu-san heard my scream and dashed into the room. He didn't hear the banging and bamming? Nevertheless, the banging intensified. Bam 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 bam! In response, Hisamatsu-san slammed the wall back.
お前か。姉ちゃんをあんな風にしたのは。
Oh, he's losing his
Oh my
cool now. Poor dude. His fury echoed through the room. With one final bang, the noise stopped, leaving nothing but the sound of Hisamatsu-san's elevated breathing. Oh, guys, you better get out of there. I think it's angry. Chapter 18. An indeterminate amount of time passed. Hisamatsu-san finally pulled his hand away from the wall and looked back at me. The moment he laid eyes on me, however, he quickly averted his gaze and bolted from the bedroom. Oh, we were in the middle of changing, weren't we? Damn. That was the moment I realized I hadn't quite finished putting my top on. I'm sure you look fine, Kai. I let out an ugly shriek, pulled the shirt on over my head and quickly left the room. The tension from earlier had eased somewhat, but at my core I was still shook. I peered in through the crack in the office door to find Hisamatsu-san standing there, staring quietly at the floor.
Hisamatsu-san, 大丈夫?
大丈夫ですよ。白いブラなんて見てないし。
White, huh?
しっかり見てるじゃないの!
Pure innocence, huh? I like that. Despite my retort, silence fell between us once more. 10 seconds passed. Then Hisamatsu-san sighed heavily.
怖いですね。
Yeah, just think about living here. I was hardly going to deny it.
久松さんでも怖いと思うんだ。
そりゃ怖いですよ。
No, we couldn't. You were playing it coolly the whole time. No, actually, but I decided to keep the part to myself.
そうは見えないって言いたそうですね。まあ、自分でもそうかなと思いますけどね。
Vibe between us was a little awkward somehow. Then Hisamatsu-san walked up to me.
ゆうきさん、
Oh?
今日はこの家にいなきゃいけなかったんでしたっけ？
仕事のデータを送らなきゃいけないけど。
パソコンはあれですか？
Wouldn't you be able to do it from his place? He shot a glance in the direction of the desktop PC I had set up in the living room and I nodded.
じゃああれ、俺の部屋に移動しましょう。
Yeah! Damn, what is it about this game and the sensible protagonists? They are doing everything right so far. I can only hope that this ends in a happy end, because they're not acting dumb like usual horror protagonists who are just, oh, this is a haunted apartment, I better just go to sleep and ignore everything that is happening, or I won't look for any help or any clues or whatever, and I'll separate, and no, I don't want anyone to help me and stuff, because I'm dumb. Yeah.
は?
I couldn't believe my ears.
私のパソコンを久松さんの部屋に?
He wants to help you.
いや、冷静に考えてですよ。夜、いられますか?
I shook my head without a second thought.
でも、だったらデータだけでも送らせてもらえればそれでいいんだけど。
俺、
But you don't have your internet yet. Hisamatsu-san slipped past me and walked into the living room. He put his hands on his hips and glared in the direction of the bedroom.
202に潜む何か、よくわからないものは、多分、相当根が深いもののように感じる
Yeah,
んです。
why is it attacking us the most, actually?
ここにいる限り、必ずアプローチしてくる。
What's with this apartment? Something told me he was right. Whoever she was, evidently the depth of her grudge was fearsome enough to warrant attacks on a brand new tenant at all hours of the day and night.
上下左右に及ぶアピールか。
Yeah, can she split herself or does she have to, like, take shifts on who to spook next? I thought back on what Uchiyama-san had told me. Meanwhile, Hisamatsu-san looked at me dubiously.
何それ?
Nani?
201に203、302と102。201は私がいるけど、他のところは人がいないんでしょ。
Yeah, what about those actually?
302は誰も入ってませんね。そういえば。102はよく知らないけど。
とりあえず今日は久松さんのところからデータは送らせてもらうとして、今夜ちょっと付き合ってほしいんだけど。
デートですか?
まあそんなところ。
Oh, she didn't deny it. My casual response seemed to catch him off guard.
込まれると思ったのに。
まあたまには。
Damn, I want them to get together now.
いいですけど、どこですか?
They're really good fit.
今は秘密。
I powered on my computer and pulled up the half-finished files. Time to wrap up the rest of the site update. At least while I have a bodyguard on standby.
1時間くらいここにいてもらえる？大悟くん。
Daigo-kun, huh?
いいですよ。ってあ、大悟って呼んだ。
He looked at me in surprise, but I ignored it and focused on the work at hand. The bones come in quick succession now, Daigo. I think you're gonna get some soon.
白いブラも見られたことだし、当分お世話になりそうだし。私のことは帰って呼んでくれる？
Oh,
カエ
damn.
さんって言うんだ。
As I was busy typing, Daigo-kun suddenly leaned over my shoulder to look at the screen.
いい名前ですね、カエさん。
Sometimes he threatened to give me a heart attack worse than any vengeful spook. I smiled stiffly, willing my racing heart to settle in my chest. Oh, you're cute.